Okay. All right. Uh, Welcome everybody. This is the informational webinar for Rethinking the Gilded Age and Progressivisms, Race, Capitalism, and Democracy, 1877 to 1922. It's an NEH Summer Institute for K-12 teachers. This is the seventh time that our team has offered this institute. So we're very excited to be back and very excited to be working with a new group of teachers. I'll introduce myself and I'll ask my colleagues to introduce themselves as well. I'm Charles Tachi. I'm an associate professor of education at Loyola University Chicago. There I coordinate our social studies education program. I'm co-director of the Institute, and I have been with the Institute for all 7 of its offerings. Let me turn it over to Crystal.
Hey everyone, welcome. My name is Crystal Johnson. I work at the Chicago History Museum. I'm one of the co-directors for the project as well. I also lead the Chicago Metro History Day program. If you're familiar with National History Day, CMHD is the local affiliate of that program. I'm delighted to work with all of you. Hope to see your applications and review those soon. I think of my position as trying to sort of keep the trains moving on time when the Institute gets going. I'll be handling a lot of the communication. I'll be handling stipends, payments, contracts with scholars, all those kinds of logistical things that need to happen in the background.
Thanks very much. Mike.
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Biondo. I'm a history teacher and instructional coach at Maine South High School in Park Ridge, Illinois. So great to have you all here. Thank you for your interest.
And Joanna.
Hi, everyone. Johanna Hepler. Happy New Year and welcome. We're excited to have you. I teach high school history in Franklin Park, Mike's alma mater, and I'm thrilled to have you all here and excited to share more about our program this summer.
Great. Thank you very much. Thanks. We have one other member of the team who couldn't join us tonight. Robert Johnston is our academic director. So he oversees all of the academic programming, all of the scholars that we bring in, and making sure that it's a coherent and engaging program, and he helps prep all of our visiting scholars that come in. Robert is a professor of history at the University of Illinois, Chicago. And he's been with us since the beginning of the Institute as well. He's been here for all 7 offerings. Okay. So tonight, we're going to start by looking at the academic program, giving an overview of what that entails. Then we'll talk about location and logistics. At that point, I'll turn it over to Crystal to lead the conversation. Then I'll pick it back up when we talk about the applications and the timeline, and then we'll open it up to Q&A. But again, please feel free to use the chat to ask questions as we go along. Since there are 4 of the staff here, we can keep a close eye on that and respond to questions as they come up. All right. Okay. All right. So I got to move this around. Why the Gilded Age and Progressive Era? Well, when we first started this institute, when we first applied, I believe it was back in 2012, the Gilded Age and Progressive Era felt very relevant to the time we were living in. A dozen years later, it feels more relevant than ever. That many of the experiences that our students are living through, many experiences that we're living through now, seem to have echoes across this history. The rise of large industries, new technologies reshaping societies, the rise of monopolies and powerful business interests, and then social movements that are rising up to meet those changes, and a real struggle on many fronts of society to remake our democracy. So as we talk to teachers and as we work with teachers, and through our own experience, we just find enduring relevance in the Gilded Age and Progressive Era. And I also know that, to Robert's point, Robert as a historian of this era, Robert's point is that there is so much exciting scholarship that continues to be published about the Gilded Age and the Progressive Era, opening new vistas, bringing new points of view, bringing new histories to bear. That there's really so much new material that's exciting for teachers to sit down, really digest together, learn about as a group, and then apply to their classrooms to bring into the curriculum. There's so much there for us to work with. And then finally, we're so excited to do this in Chicago because I know we're all biased here that we think Chicago is the greatest city in the world. But on top of that, Chicago is a city of the Gilded Age and the Progressive Era. So much of the essential history happens here. And that so much of the essential history happens here. And that a core part of our program is being able to visit those sites, to visit the museums that bring that history, bring those artifacts and that history to life, and really be able to immerse you in that material so that in turn you can bring that back to your classrooms. I'll invite Crystal, Mike, Joanna, any other points you'd add on this? Why the Gilded Age and Progressive Era? What's so exciting about this, our content? Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, well, I'm going to move it along. So we introduced ourselves briefly a couple of moments ago, but this is the team again. Crystal is based at Chicago History Museum, and they are actually the organization that holds the grant for this program. So as you see materials and advertising, and if you're part of the program, when you see your stipend, things like that, they come through the Chicago Historical Society. That is the organization that has the grant. But the program is based at the University of Illinois, Chicago. So we use facilities there to run the program and to provide housing as well. So we talk about the program as being at the University of Illinois, Chicago, UIC, but the actual grantee organization is the Chicago History Museum. So we talk about that somewhat fluidly, but I want to make sure that's clear. But this is our team. I certainly look younger in that picture. That's how long we've been doing this. Okay, so ours too is a 3-week long program that entails several different kinds of academic experiences. Our overarching goal is to provide all of our 30 participants with a rich and deep understanding of the current scholarship around the Gilded Age and Progressive Era, as well as pulling in related humanities materials. We have movies that we bring in, and poetry and books that we fold into the program as well to try to make it a rich humanities experience. That we try to immerse ourselves in this cutting edge material to understand it together as a group, and then support you to develop curriculum for that you can bring back to your classrooms. The core experience is seminar sessions. So we have, I believe it's 14 scholars that join us across 3 weeks, historians that come join our sessions. Well, not only historians, but historians, public historians, and other folks who come and join us and sit in seminar sessions with participating teachers. Those folks prepare a set of readings in advance. The guideline for them is 50 to 75 pages of reading, which could be narrative texts or primary historical sources. Teachers read those in advance and come in ready to have in-depth conversation in a seminar format. We admit 30 teachers to our program. And then for seminar sessions, we split the group into A and B so that there are 15 participants at a time. We feel that a seminar session of 15 people is a good number to allow really deep conversation, a close reading of the material, and allows you to really interact with our visiting scholar, really pick their brains and ask the questions that you want. So our seminar sessions are split A and B, 90 minutes each, where 15 teachers at a time sit and go through the material in depth through conversation. So that does mean that's about 250 to 375 pages of reading per week across the Institute. Once you're admitted, we'll give you electronic access to those readings. So our scholars provide all of that material in advance. And to those folks who are admitted to the program, we'll provide electronic access to all of the readings so you can get a head start on that and not try to read during the Institute. So that's the core, these seminar sessions where we're meeting closely with scholars and discussing material in depth. Other experience in the program, we do tours around Chicago. The picture you see here is of Jeff Hegelson from Texas State University at the Haymarket Memorial. So this is the site of the Haymarket riot. And Jeff kicks off our institute with a bus tour, a tour of the city, a labor bus tour of the city. And here he is leading the group at Haymarket, sort of reenacting some of the speeches that were happening that day. And you can see some of our past participants there, enthralled by Jeff's reenactment. So we get around tour around Chicago. We also have an architecture tour that we go on and think and work through the City Beautiful movement. Yeah, Jeff is a fan favorite. He's amazing. We also take field trips. We visit the Newberry Library, which is an independent academic institution in the city of Chicago, which has incredible archival holdings, and we'll get to explore those archival holdings. We go visit the Chicago History Museum. We get out to take field trips around the city and as much as possible see some of these key historical sites and some of the key historical material that makes this a Chicago story. Each week, we also watch films together. We'll watch a film together each week to sort of expand our thinking and then also discuss how we fold in film to support our students' learning of the Gilded Age and Progressive Era and discuss non-fictional poetry, books, literature as part of that as well. At the end of each week, Robert leads a historical synthesis session. So to capstone each Friday, we spend time pulling threads together and trying to synthesize the learning from across the week. The experience we've heard year after year, it's rich, it's fantastic, it's a lot. The synthesis sections are our chance to end each week reflecting on what the big learnings are, what is emerging for us as key ideas, key sources, key pieces that we want to fold into our curriculum, and having that sort of ongoing conversation week to week about what we want, what are the big ideas that are emerging for us. And then finally, to support the creation of curriculum, we have twice a week applications to teaching sessions, which are planned and facilitated by Mike and Johanna. So I want to turn it over to them for a moment to describe what the applications to teaching sessions are what the applications teaching sessions are.
Thanks, Charlie. I can get started and turn it over to Johanna. The sessions are a great opportunity for all the teachers in the group to connect. We focus on building more than a lesson, but definitely not an entire unit, to bring the very rich material of the Institute back to your students at whatever level they're at. We've had a wonderful experience with history teachers. We've had English teachers, ELA teachers, librarians, art teachers, people across the disciplines who've come together to really share their expertise in teaching and their experiences, but also to learn some new tips and tricks and strategies to work with history, historical documents, historical inquiry in history classes, but also in those other disciplines. We have wonderful materials created by teachers posted on the website, give you a little preview of the type of work that we do. And we're just so excited to bring people to Chicago and to talk teaching and to talk about the content of the Institute. Johanna?
Hi, everyone. Yes, so I want to echo a lot of Mike's sentiments. And as both a participant in the program many years ago and now a master teacher in the program, it can feel very overwhelming. The Gilded Age Progressive Era oftentimes is a tricky topic to approach in any classroom. So Mike and I really work hard to help you bring applicable lessons back to your classroom for your learning context. That's what matters most to Mike and I. We hope you pick up a couple of tips along the way about how to enrich that learning, but really helping you make the learning accessible for your students. No matter where you're coming from and no matter what your discipline is, really is a primary goal of ours.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. And yeah, again, we really try to organize the Institute around having this rich and deep communal experience with the scholarship and in the historical sites of the city of Chicago, and then supporting teachers to bring that back to their students. And we know that looks very different because people are in very different contexts, whether that's state to state and the standards that you work under, school to school and the specific students you're working with, and grade level to grade level. And as well as discipline to discipline. We often get English folks as well as social studies folks in the program. So we try to meet every teacher where they're at, understand the goals that you have to bring material from the Institute back into your classrooms so that your students are getting the benefit of this program as well. All right. This is our calendar in brief. The full syllabus, including this calendar at a glance, is posted to our website, so you can explore it more there. But this is our schedule for the Institute. It starts with that bus tour that we just saw Jeff leading us through Haymarket and a variety of other sites, getting all the way down to Pullman. That starts on Sunday the 6th. So participants should arrive by July 5th. If you're local, of course, you can commute in every day. But if you're traveling to Chicago, you should be in and situated by July 5th so that you're ready to go and start the morning of July 6th. And then we're off. Jeff leads us on a bus tour. And then on Monday, July 7th, Jeff leads us in a seminar session. And then Robert follows up with an overview session to try to paint some big pictures. The next day, we're off to the Chicago History Museum with Leon and have our first applications to teaching session. And then you can follow through there. A little bit of the color coding. The blue identifies days where we're off the UIC campus and visiting a site. So you'll see the Chicago History Museum, the Urban Planning and City Beautiful Architecture Tour, a visit to the UIC collections and the Jane Addams Hull House, and then the Newberry Library. Green are the applications to teaching sessions, and you can see that there are 2 of those per week. And then purple are the film discussions, and red are the historical synthesis sessions. Everything in bolded black are sessions from our visiting scholars leading us in those seminar style sessions. And then finally, on our last day, we have a session where we all meet together. Robert leads one last synthesis session, and then folks share the curriculum products that they've started to make. By the end of the Institute, we know that folks will be in different places in terms of what they have made. Some folks leave the Institute with well-designed and well-prepared lesson plans. Other folks leave with collections of materials that they know they'll work on as they move forward. But we want to share that so that everybody has access to sort of the collective thinking and the materials that everyone has made across the Institute. So we might draw and borrow from those as well. All right. Let me just actually pause here for a moment. Are there any questions about the schedule? I know I've thrown a lot at you here about the structure of the program and the schedule. Let me pause here and see if anyone has any questions yet. Okay. All right. I will say it is busy. We do a lot. We keep you very busy. But yeah, we do build in a few open days and time for you to get out and about and visit the Chicago. Great question about the housing. We'll come to that in a moment. Housing is available, and there's a stipend available to help cover people's costs for the program. And Crystal will talk about that in just a few minutes. I want to just talk before we turn it over to Crystal. I want to lay out some of the expectations for our program that the NEH also has. Those of you who have been part of NEH programs in the past are probably very familiar with these. If you're new to NEH programs, they're really focused on building a cohesive, supportive community among the participants, and making sure that everybody's sort of deeply invested in the work and really collaborating to learn together. So participant expectations for our institute, that we expect our folks to remain during the entire period of the program. We do understand that life events happen, and in the past we have had people who in emergency situations have had to depart early from the institute. But you should plan to participate in the full 3 weeks of the program, and to do it on a full-time basis. That the commitment is to be part of the program each day that there is programming. We are able to, we do accommodate issues and situations that arise, but please come in planning to participate fully. The NEH does mandate that we prorate the stipend that is available based on the amount of participation. So we'll talk more about the details of that, but the NEH does provide a stipend for participation in this to offset costs. And that this full stipend is predicated upon full participation in the program. And we offer a prorated reduction of that stipend if folks do not participate in the full program. Once an applicant has accepted an offer to attend an NEH program, whether it's a seminar, an institute, or a landmark, you may not accept an additional offer or withdraw in order to accept a different offer. So in essence, you can participate in one NEH program per year. And so if you accept an offer to our program or to a different program, that is the only program that you can participate in a given year. The NEH outlines principles of civility, basically norms for how we conduct ourselves in our NEH programs. NEH programs intend to extend and deepen knowledge and understanding of the humanities, contribute to the intellectual vitality and professional development of participants, and foster a community of inquiry that provides models of excellence in scholarship and teaching. The NEH expects that project directors will take responsibility, for encouraging an ethos of openness, respect, upholding basic norms of civil discourse. And so, again, we found that the richness of our program is really built by the variety of perspectives and experiences that our participants bring to it. We know that you teach in very different situations. Excuse me. We know that you teach in very different situations, and that's part of what makes it a dynamic experience, is everybody thinking about how they'll bring this material, how this fits their curriculum, how this fits their experiences and their pedagogy, and bringing that to the conversations. All right, good timing. I'm going to turn this over to you, Crystal.
Let Charlie get a drink. Thank you, Charlie. I am charged with telling you a little bit more about our accommodations and some of the logistical information. We have housed this program at both UIC and Loyola in past years. The last time that we ran the program in 2023, we were at Loyola. So we are back again at our original institution, UIC, to house this year's institute. We will have an option. You're not required to stay there, but we have an option of staying in Marie Robinson Hall that you see pictured here. Our classroom sessions, our seminar discussions will be held in the classrooms here on campus. You'll have access, should you choose to get a temporary campus ID, to use the library. This is also an excellent place because the UIC Special Collections has really excellent materials in Gilded Age and Progressive Era history. Hull House is on campus as well. So it's a really wonderful space to be in the neighborhood where so much Gilded Age and Progressive Era history that you may have read about in the past or in the course of this institute has happened, and to see how the neighborhoods have changed over time. You are not required to use on-campus dining facilities, and will probably choose to explore the neighborhood instead, but there are some on-campus dining options as well. But one of the really great things about Marie Robinson Hall is that it's in a neighborhood that's really filled with restaurants, bars, and other institutions, ice cream shops, things like that. So there are a lot of really great places to dine or to just commune with other teachers from the program and enjoy yourself. There will be a daily discounted rate. If you're commuting in, you'll be able to get a discounted rate for parking. And we'll have some information about that available shortly when we get some answers from UIC about that. You do have access to a temporary campus ID card. That can be particularly helpful for those of you that are staying on campus, because it provides you access not just to use things like the library facilities, but also the campus shuttle buses, transportation services, things like that. Internet and Wi-Fi access is $15 as well. And Charlie? Should you choose to stay on campus, the housing in Marie Robinson Hall is set up in suite style housing. So there are a couple of different options. There are four bedroom, 2-bathroom apartments where there are 4 individual bedrooms, just a single bed with its own private door, and 2 bathrooms and a living area and kitchen. So that would be the cheaper option at $90 per night. There are also studio 1-bedroom and private bathroom apartments that are available for a little bit more, $97 per night. You can choose the linen package if you are interested. That runs $25. The kitchens that are available in the rooms in Marie Robinson Hall are excellent kitchens, but they are not entirely outfitted. They are designed for college students that are moving in lots of things throughout the year. So you might want to consider bringing things like pots, pans, things like that. The campus is located close to Target and our local grocery store, Jewel, several other options. So it's easy to run out to get materials should you need it. But the materials themselves, or the rooms themselves, are college dorms. Next slide, please, Charlie. Even though we do have the on-campus housing provided, it is not required to stay there. We have had past participants who have, for example, stayed with family or friends that might live in the area. That's an option. We have had some participants who have used things like Airbnb when they found a great deal. So you're not obligated to stay on campus. However, the participants that have stayed on campus in the past, I think, have really benefited from the sense of camaraderie that comes from living and dining together and enjoying each other's company, going out. It can be a very fun experience if that's the right fit for you. If you are commuting in, there is a large parking lot about less than a block away where you can park. We're also located pretty conveniently to the metro stops in the area. So if you want to point out Ogilvy and the Union Station, they're available not just to the CTA and to the elevated train, but also to some of the trains that serve some of the more distant suburbs as well, that you're welcome to commute in if you are local. Did I forget anything there on transportation, Mike, Johanna, Charlie?
I would just add that there is a CTA Blue Line station for UIC. It's marked right here, UIC Halstead. That's a little less than a mile from Marie Robinson Hall. So, if you are commuting, whether you're in the city taking the CTA or elsewise, that is the closest stop, and it is just under a mile. It's like 3/4 of a mile, maybe a little bit more than that. So on rainy days, it's kind of a little bit wet. There is a Halstead bus that you could take that would take that, but timing that can be tricky a little bit. You want to leave plenty of time for that.
Thank you for pointing that out. All right, I think we've got one more slide, maybe 2 on that front. So just a quick note about the neighborhood that the campus is in. So this neighborhood where UIC is located is the near west side and the Pilsen neighborhood. This is just west of the Loop, which I think we will see or saw on the previous slide. So it's very convenient if you're coming in from out of town and you want to take advantage of exploring the city of Chicago. It is right next door to downtown and is very easy to get around. But the communities, then Chicago is a city of neighborhoods, and it's excellent not just to spend your time where the tall buildings are, but actually to get out into the neighborhoods and learn more about them. I think our past participants have really been very eager to explore the city of Chicago with each other, and that's been one of the benefits of the program as well. I mentioned earlier that we are only a few blocks away from Hull House. The museum is still there. So being in this neighborhood also, I think, gives you opportunities to reflect upon the many waves of immigration that have happened in Chicago. And there are also just lots of dining and entertainment options that are within walking distance of campus. And a short train ride or bus ride away, you're getting into all that downtown Chicago has to offer as well. Previous participants have been fantastic about sharing opportunities to connect with one another. It is we use a system called GroupMe, or we have in the past, to connect our participants to one another. Last time we learned that there was so much fantastic conversation, we split it up into two. We had a business chat going and as well as a social chat going. And it's been fantastic because participants have been able to do things like arrange baseball outings or arrange outings to go check out cool restaurants or shows that participants want to go to. So that social connection is very much a part of the Institute fabric as well.
I'll just add here. I just thought about this. Historically, we have about a quarter to a third of our participants from the Chicago area, whether they live in Chicago or live close enough to commute into the program every day. And that's fantastic. We love that balance. We find that our locals can be great ambassadors for our outer towners, giving them pointers, leading social trips out and around the city. So yeah, it's great to have a nice mix of locals and out of towners, and to build community across that. Gives Chicago teachers a way to show off the city, and introduce it to some of their new friends. Oh, you want to take this one, Crystal?
Actually, Charlie, are we able to pull up the more detailed schedule from the website? It might
Yes.
provide some additional information, show folks where to look for more detail.
Yes. Give me one moment and I will pull that for us.
So yes, we are primarily meeting during the hours of 9 to 3 during those times. But because of how we break apart the session into Group A and Group B conversations in smaller groups, we have some empty slots during the day when you can catch up on reading or working on your final project. So the best way to learn about what the specific day would look like would be to go to the calendar and syllabus that Charlie is pulling up. Mm-hmm. And you can actually see, again, this is not the final syllabus. Our scholars are right now being asked to update the syllabus for next year, but you can see kind of a breakdown of what you'll be doing. It does vary a little bit by day. For example, some days we're off on bus tours, some days we're exploring museums or archives. So it's a little different day to day, but this will give you a much greater sense of the detail of the program and what timeline you would be expected to participate.
Okay. Should I jump back to the slides, Crystal? Where do you want to go?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Though I think this might be the last slide, but a very important one. So the NEH allows for stipends that help to offset the costs that are associated with travel and with housing and lodging and meals and so on. For a 3-week program such as ours, the stipend for full participation, as Charlie mentioned, is $28.50. We split that into 2. So the first half will come in the month of June, and then the second half will come at the end of the program, the last day of the program. Should you not attend the full program for some reason, as Charlie mentioned, that would be prorated. So it might be slightly less than $28.50 if you needed to miss sessions for some reason. But the way that works for us is that comes with a physical check. We at the Chicago History Museum, unfortunately, do not have a way to do electronic payments at this time. So that will be a physical check that we will be mailing to you or hand delivering to you. So please be advised about that stipend as well. There is additional paperwork that you would need to sign, several pieces of information that we need from you if you are accepted into the program, and you would have to accept our contract and fill out some tax paperwork and so on if you are accepting a position in the program. Charlie, I think you're up next to talk about university credit, however.
Yes. So for participants that are interested, you can enroll in a graduate history course through Loyola University to earn credit for participation in the Institute. It's really an independent study course that uses the syllabus of the program as the syllabus for the course. The cost of the course is just over $1,000 per credit hour. It's a 3-credit course. And so it's almost $3,300 for the course. So you can keep that cost in mind. Historically, we've had few people actually take up that offer because of the tuition credit, but that is available. And I'm happy to talk more about that. The credit is through Loyola. So that's me. I'm the point person who would coordinate that with you. So I'm happy to answer more questions about that. Now, for teachers in Illinois, we do offer professional development hours that you can use towards renewing your license. There are actually 57 PD hours available for participating in the full program. So that's almost half your 5-year total that you can make up through this program. Now, for folks that are coming from other states, every state has their own system for continuing professional development and how those get tracked. What we do is offer everybody a certificate of completion at the close of the ceremony. So you'll have the program syllabus. But we're also happy to write letters to your district or to your state agency outlining what the Institute entails so that you might be able to get some sort of professional development credit for that. Almost every time we run the Institute, there are folks for whom we write detailed letters to help them make that case so that they can earn CPDUs or however they're called in your particular state, and make that useful for their renewals. Anything else there, Crystal? Any other financial notes that are important? Okay. All right. So let's briefly talk about the application and then our timeline to wrap things up. Applications are open now, and they will close at the end of day on March 5th, 2025. The application is a Google form that's linked through our website. I'll also add the link here in the chat in just a few minutes when I can jump over there. But it is a Google form. And through that, you'll submit your personal information, who you are, your professional information, the school district where you work, and so on. We are interested in your past NEH participation. The NEH is interested in making sure that we recruit people who are new to NEH programs. They want to share the experience as broadly as possible. So if this is your first If this is your first time potentially participating in an NEH program, we're really happy to have you. The NEH also asks us to set aside seats for teachers that are early career, meaning within the first 5 years of their career. So if that's you or if that's someone you know, please encourage them to apply. We want to make sure that they are part of our community as well. We have several short answer questions to learn more about you, where you work, and what you teach. We ask that you upload a resume so we can understand more about your professional background. And then finally, we have a short essay, 3 pages max, that we ask for you to submit so that we can really understand, one, how the material of the Institute will help enrich your curriculum, how you will bring this back into your classroom, and second, how you will help share what you've learned in the Institute with your colleagues and with other teachers. The NEH's model is very much that that the participants in the program will carry their knowledge out into schools and share that more widely. So, we're interested in how you think about that, what opportunities you have to share your learning and share the materials that you gather in the Institute with your colleagues and other teachers in your communities after the Institute, because that helps the NEH meet its goals. Our selection criteria are outlined here on the left. Outlined here on the left. That rubric, the criteria we use in rubric form to evaluate all of the applications that come in. Our staff, along with a former participant as an additional reviewer, read all of the applications and use these criteria in rubric form to assess. So we are looking for, commitment to the program and how your intellectual interest, how you will bring this information into your classroom, any special perspectives or skills you'll bring, your commitment to fully participate in the program, and then articulating your goals and what you hope to get out of the program. So we assess that. We also, as an NEH program, need to be nationally diverse. We have to recruit nationwide. And so we do seek geographic diversity. So that means calling from all 50 states, well, as many states as possible. We have 30 participants, so we can't hit all 50 states, but we try to get as many different states as possible, try to get wide geographic representation that way. And then we also think about getting diversity in terms of city schools, suburban schools, small town schools, rural schools, and reaching out to as many different geographies as possible to create a diverse set of participants. In the end, we do end up being about a quarter, typically about a quarter from the Chicago area, but then the rest from all around the country. We have had teachers from Guam. We had a teacher from Guam several years ago. We also had an American teacher from the American school in Beijing. Was that where Bill was located? Was it Beijing or Shanghai? Yeah. So in China. So we've had people from far abroad as well. But this starts to blend into the eligibility. We are the NEH program is reserved for teachers in American schools. So participants must be U.S. citizens, residents of U.S. jurisdictions, or foreign nationals who have been residing in the U.S. or its territories for at least 3 years immediately preceding applications. So you have to fit into one of those criteria. We are primarily dedicated to educators working in K-12 schools. There is wiggle room for us to admit a limited number of educators that work in other settings, but we primarily focus on folks in K-12 schools. 5 of our seats, again, are dedicated to people who are early in their careers. Again, you can only participate in one NEH program per year. You can apply to 2, but might only attend 1. Participants may not be delinquent in the repayment of any federal debts. So we are required to vet all of our participants and make sure they are in good standing with the federal government. You must submit a completed application, at least 5 early career seats. Yes, thank you, Crystal. That's important to know. You must submit a completed application. So far, we have 12 completed applications, and we're in a regular routine of reviewing the applications that have come in each Monday, checking them for completion, and then confirming with folks that they have been received and are completed. So I'm doing that on a weekly basis. Each Monday, we'll follow up with all the applicants who have come in over the past week. And finally, we are asked to give priority to teachers who are new to NEH programs. The NEH wants to share the experience far and wide, so we are asked to give priority to those folks. I think in our experience, we find that teachers who have participated in past NEH programs are great assets, though. Folks who know what these programs are like, who have had those experiences, who know how to really make the most out of them. We enjoy having them in the program as well, because they can help lead and help culture build, help socialize everybody into having a successful experience. So, we look for a mix and do want to try to bring in as many new people as possible so they can become part of that broader NEH experience. All right.
Charlie, before we move on from that
Please.
eligibility slide, I think this might be a nice time to also talk about participants who might have disabilities.
Yes.
You are not required, nor do we necessarily wish for any disability information in your applications. But if you do have questions about our ability to meet your needs or how accessible our program will be, you can forward those to me or Charlie, and we are very much committed to full inclusion. We would be happy to take your questions and let you know if there would be any problems. We will do our very best to try to accommodate everyone in your needs if you have any concerns.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes. Okay. So looking ahead at our timeline, applications are due by end of day on March 5th, 2025. Our team then has a little less than a month to review all the applications that come in. So that will be an exciting time for us to read all of those applications. All NEH programs will announce their decisions on April 2nd. So applicants can expect to hear from us on April 2nd. Our program, it will admit 30 teachers. That means on April 2nd, we will make 30 offers for to participants, but then we'll also have a wait list. And so on April 2nd, we may indicate to you that you are on our wait list, and that if one of the folks we have offered a seat to initially can't make it or declines, we will start to move through our wait list and offer seats to those folks. So those decisions come out on April 2nd. Then you have 2 weeks to accept or decline our offer. At that point, once our group of 30 is locked in, we'll start to share information, start to give you much more about the logistics, share readings, get you set up to get paid for your stipend. You'll start to hear from us a lot. It's from mid-April on, and be in close communication as you prepare for the Institute. We do hold 2 pre-institute orientation meetings on Zoom. So this year we've scheduled them for May 14th and 21st. Opportunities for us to get together, to meet each other, and to do an overview of the Institute material, just to do some of the general orientation and community building work, so that when we do meet in person for the first time, we're just a little bit ahead of that. We've got a leg up and we can start rolling a little bit quicker. Saturday, July 5th is the day that, for out of town folks who are not commuting to the Institute every day, you should plan to arrive on July 5th, so that you are ready to go on July 6th. We start at, I think, 9 a.m. on Sunday, July 6th. That's with Jeff's bus tour. So we start bright and early on the 6th. So please, if you're coming from out of town, be here by the 5th and ready to go on the morning of the 6th. And that kicks off our 3 weeks. Our program ends on July 25th of this year. It seems so far away, but I know it's going to be here in a blink of an eye. So, yeah, I'm in that weird moment now thinking about how quickly everything's going to happen, but it's very exciting as well. All right. That is our prepared program for the evening. At this point, we're interested in your questions. what questions you have, what can we tell you more about, what can we clarify. If you don't have time to stick around now, by all means, please email us. You can get us at our general institute email, gape.shy.institute@gmail. Our other contact information is also available through the website, and you can find more information there as well. We're happy to talk. We're happy to help explore whether or not this is the right program for you, and ask as many questions as you can. We know it's a big commitment, and we want to make sure that this is a great experience for you. So please, what questions do you have? You can come off mute, use the chat. Yeah, let us know what you're thinking, please.